Hey, there we are. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our first show of the year. My name is Scott Kelby, and I am joined by my co-host, Mr. RC Concepcion.
What's going on, everybody? How you guys doing today?
And we are very excited to have with us, we are excited to have RC, but even more exciting because I see RC every day. We've had numerous meetings today, and it's good, though. Seeing RC, you can never get enough.
Wow.
Don't put his lower third in front of me. Go
that
one
would
up,
be
go
me,
one up
right
on
here.
RC.
Here, right here. I'll just do this. Hey, everybody.
There's no way to go one up on RC.
Not yet.
You know why? Because our cameraman left the camera. It's going to be that kind of year.
Oh, that's you.
That's me.
Hey, in case you didn't know it, that's the guy right there.
No, we got a great guy today. We got Joel Grimes here. So, Joel, thank you for being on the show. This is not your first time on the show.
No, I've done this before, so it's old hat.
All right, good. Well, that's how we feel. This is just old hat being on the set with you. Anyway, we got a great show today. And what we're going to talk about is how to take better pictures in 2015. It's our first show of the year. But you know what? Can I tell you how to take? I'm going to give you the secret to taking better pictures.
I'm waiting.
Start your day by looking at Brad.
Yep. Absolutely. Here, let's just get
Let's do that.
right there.
Right there. Wow. If that doesn't make you want to take better pictures, seriously, if that does not inspire you and make you want to grab a camera and run out the door and shoot,
I don't know what will.
what will? How you doing, Brad?
I'm good. How are you?
Happy New Year, sir.
You too, sir.
You look very finely groomed today, as usual.
Sure.
I know. I look at Brad's beard, and then I compare his to mine, and I'm
Dude,
like,
his beard's beautiful.
it's like soft and all one color.
You know, he's doing a
and-
class on Kelby 1 on how to grow the perfect beard.
You know what my daughter told me?
Coming to a screen near you.
Coming to a screen near you.
Dude, my daughter just told me this 2 days ago. She turned around and she goes, "Daddy, you have all of those white hairs on your face. Does that mean you're going to die?"
Oh,
She's like,
yes,
"You
it
should
does. And
cut
you told
those
her, yes,
off."
it
So
does.
I was like, "Yep."
Yes, it does. All right, Joel, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing excellent.
So you were here doing some classes.
Some classes.
We're launching a new tour
and
with
then
you.
for the tour, yes. That was
Yeah.
actually good. We had a dry run on Monday, and I got some good feedback, all which I will apply.
Yeah.
You know what? My favorite part about that tour is that there were people after a break. There were people kind of like sitting sideways like this, like foam was coming out of their mouth, and they were just
good?
They were
Was that
literally
good?
like,
It
"He
was
just
that
blew
good.
our head up with all of this kind of stuff that we were talking about in Photoshop." So I thought it was neat.
Good.
I thought it was neat that a lot of people came in and they were just hit with a wall of information, and that's one of the things that you should want to see at a tour. You kind of
You're
want
spending
inspiration,
good
but you
money
want
to be there?
No.
knowledge. So I thought,
So Meredith, our director, came in my office yesterday and she said, his talk on marketing was unbelievable. She's like, it was insane. I'm like, I know. That's why we hired him. He's really good. Anyway, so our topic today is, and we'll have giveaways and stuff, and we'll converse with Brad more later. But our topic today is how to take better pictures in 2015. And we were talking about this yesterday, and I want to start by showing a quote from Jay Maisel. And it's on my screen here. I'll try to make it prettier here. Oh, there we go. And so Jay's quote, in case you can't read the fancy letters or on a small screen, says, if you're out there shooting, things will happen for you. If you're not out there, you'll only hear about them. And that got us all talking yesterday because it's right. It's Jay always talks about, you got to be shooting all the time. And there was a really embarrassing moment in this class that I did with Jay Maisel where Jay asked me how many times do I shoot? Do I have a camera with me every day? And I'm like, no, Jay, I don't. And because I was talking about being frustrated with my own work, and he says, how much do you shoot? And I'm like, well, God, Jay, I got a day job and I got meetings and it's like I try to shoot, as much as I can, but and maybe every couple weeks. And he says, if you're trying to be like a champion bodybuilder, do you think lifting the weights every couple of weeks is going to get you there? And I was like, I didn't know what to say because you knew it when it came out of his mouth. He was right.
It's no different than playing an instrument.
Yeah.
The more time you put in it, the better you're going to get. And so, I feel like that when a client hires me to do a shoot, a specific look, we talked about this yesterday, that if I have practiced that 1,000 times, then I am not nervous going into that shoot.
Yeah.
If I'm not practiced up or they ask me to do something that I don't know that well, I'm kind of maybe like on, experimenting on the fly, then I'm really nervous.
Yeah, because you have like a really, really good signature lighting look. It's like, I'd almost call it just the Joel Grimes look, and you've got it down like nobody's business. So if the client asks you to do your look, which is, they're probably going to hire you because they want you to do
I
your
hope so.
thing, right? But if they ask you to do something else, you get nervous?
I do.
Man.
Yeah, because, you're on the spot, and a lot of things can go wrong. So the more you practice it, the better you feel confident in going into it. And sure, a trigger could go down or a light could blow up or whatever,
right.
but hopefully not onto your client or your subject. But no, the more you feel comfortable going into the shoot, the better it's going to turn out.
Yeah. And so I totally dig it.
No, it's like, but that would be one of those things where that could be one of the immediate takeaways for how to get yourself ready and how to get yourself shooting in 2015 is just almost kind of overall practicing. Just to add to something like that, at home, I always tend to take a look at a lot of the shoots as there's so much that goes into the shoot that has absolutely nothing to do with the shoot. So for me, when I'm working with that, I'll turn around and I'll be like, if I were to get a shoot and I have to go to a client and I have to do this, what gear do I pack? How do I get it organized? Is it tagged? Do I know what's happening? What's operational? And I'll do like an imaginary shoot with myself. And I'll pull out gear, get everything organized, get everything packed, get everything ready.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, this is good, this is good. Oh, this is broken. I got to change this, got to work with this. And then I put everything back.
Yep. Yeah,
Because a lot of that is the mechanics of that. And that's, I'm doing it kind of more of the gear, like the nerdy side of it, but you're looking at the artistic side of it where you're going through the look.
That's right.
Huh, that's pretty cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, and that's, look, seriously, if you took every free minute you had and brought a subject, let's say I'm a, portrait shooter. I brought a subject into the studio and just played. Don't you think you can get better? And then when the time comes, you're getting paid to it. You know what you're doing. So I try to do 50 non-paying self-assignments a year, meaning I set 50, one a week. Wow. And that means getting a model, putting it together, maybe a makeup artist. I don't always use a makeup artist because you got to usually pay the makeup artist.
Sure.
But sometimes I'll say, I'll pay a makeup artist to do it right. You got to get the wardrobe, you got to get all, and I try to do one a week. And so I ask people, how many portfolio pieces do you need to have in your book? And so you say 35 to 50. That's a good number. Well, in theory, you should be completely doing your portfolio every year.
Wow. All right, I got a question based on that for RC.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
How many personal projects do you think you do a year?
I'd probably say 20,
Good,
maybe.
you do 20. I suck.
20.
I suck.
I'd say, no, that's not true, though. I wouldn't necessarily say you suck because...
It's close, though.
Not in his face.
No, not...
I wouldn't say you suck.
I wouldn't say you suck per se.
Thank you.
What I would say is, no, but here's the thing. You're out when you're shooting on your football thing.
Yeah, you're practicing.
That's an assignment.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, you are doing an assignment every week. I wouldn't necessarily count it out.
But I don't. You know what though? That's not a personal project like you're doing. Like he's doing he's talking about things that grow you as a photographer, where you're stretching and you're trying new things and you're doing things that make you grow.
Do you do a personal assignment and a job? Are you running both of them at the same time? See?
No, he does.
No, he does not.
No, but he does one a week. He does 50 a year, dude. He does 50
I'm trying to find you an excuse here, man.
Where it's like, okay, Monday he's shooting this, and Tuesday he's shooting that, and Wednesday he's got a client consultation. Thursday he's doing a personal project. Friday he's back to work.
All right.
That's amazing. I probably do, realistically, honestly, like really, I'm not talking about football, but I would say maybe 6. What do you think, Brad? Brad works with me on every one of them.
Well, I mean, it depends on which ones are personal versus like what you're shooting for a book. Do you consider the stuff you're shooting for a book personal?
Well, like some stuff I do. Yeah. I think like, okay, I'm going to use this stuff in the book, but I want to do this for me as a photographer.
Right.
Like that big giant fashion shoot that we did that was all complex and all. I used it for the book, but I was trying to do something for me as a photographer. Mm-hmm. It's just in my job.
I think you do a lot more, but I think that the line blurs a lot for you.
Yeah.
Because
okay,
you're
but
showing
it
is not 50. It's not 50.
It might be 15.
But here's the
maybe 20 on a really good year.
This is the part that I'll tell you that we used to say about Joel when we weren't really talking directly to Joel. Because we would have these conversations about it. Because I remember when you first came on the scene here, you were already shooting for everybody. Like you were out working for everybody. You were jobbing. And you just, probably over the last couple of years, I started seeing like your social media kind of come up a little bit more. But we would talk about it, and we're like, well, you don't see Joel Grimes out there talking about this. You don't see Joel Grimes talking. And we're like, you know why? Because Joel Grimes is busy working.
Hey, pause. Joel Grimes has like 147,000 people on Twitter.
Yeah,
it ain't coming up a little bit.
Yeah, no, he's blown up. But I'm saying, but a lot of the times you're out pounding it, so it doesn't surprise me to hear that you have 50 assignments. Like you tend to work a little rough.
Yeah, and well, here's the thing though. If you think about it, it takes 3 to 5 years to bring a brand to the market. So let's say you want to be a bug photographer, macro bug photographer.
God, that's so not me, but go ahead.
Okay.
I can't stand bugs.
Well, whatever it is, you pick a subject. You say, I want to be known for that
Fine artists,
in the
right.
marketplace.
Right.
You can't do it in 1 year. I mean,
Right.
there may be a rock star out there that's done it. I don't
Yeah.
think so, but it takes a couple years.
Right.
And here's the other thing that's kind of interesting: a look that you like, the Joel Grimes. You used to call it the Joel Grimes look.
Yeah.
That has 7 to 10 year lifespan. It doesn't last forever.
So you have to reinvent yourself at some point.
Every about 10 years, 7 to 10 years, you have to start all over. I say start all over, meaning that I have to go now and say, okay, what's another section of whether, a genre or whatever, and then I beat that into the ground and build it up again. So you can't live, this is why photographers, a lot of them that are my age that were, we'd call them rock stars, did really well in the 80s, 90s, have died because they couldn't reinvent themselves. They didn't see the power of it. They thought they could live off their old images. You can't.
Well, there's musicians that are the same way. And when I say this, it'll kind of polarize people, but I don't mean to. But Madonna is somebody who has changed and changed and changed and
Absolutely.
changed, and still, like, I saw some concert data on Madonna from like a year ago or something. She was one of the top grossing concerts in the world. I'm
That's
like,
right.
Madonna? I don't,
She's a genius at marketing.
at reinventing herself and staying on top of the trends and stuff. And then there are people that are stuck where they were, which one of my favorite people that is stuck where they were is Pat Benatar. Pat Benatar was huge in the 80s, right? She was the queen of rock and roll. And then she started, I don't know what happened to Pat Benatar, but I went and saw her concert, and I love Pat Benatar, and it was not good. Oh, anyway.
Yeah. No, well, because she didn't move on. And that's the hardest thing for us as artists. We think, well, look, I built this look. I'm known for it. It should last my lifetime.
Yeah. Hey, Joel, questions are pouring in. I want to get to those, but we got, they're pouring in.
Can I take the first one?
No, we're going to take a break first. Then we can, and that goes back to saying you don't holy suck or whatever it was.
You don't know. I said you don't suck per se.
Per se. This is my friend.
He's digging
This is what I
himself
got.
out.
This is what I got. One guy with a really nice beard and him. That's it. Anyway, we're going to come back. We're talking today. Our overall thing is based on this quote of Jay's, and I just want to read it again. If you're out there shooting, things will happen for you. If you're not, you'll only hear about them. We're going to hear about some of these in a few minutes. We're going to take a short break. We're talking about how to get better pictures, and we're very we're pumped. We're excited.
Yeah.
Joel Grimes is here, RC's here, Brad's beard is here, and we'll be right back. Don't go away. We're live on the grid.
Hi, I'm Joel Grimes. I'm a commercial advertising photographer. I've been doing this for over 35 years. I'm here to teach you guys how I do my composites. I start in the studio. We take a subject, put her on a white sweep, shoot with my 3-edge gritty little lighting techniques. Then we go in the field, we shoot some HDR backgrounds, and putting it all together in Photoshop and making it one amazing killer image. If you're interested in this kind of compositing, come check out my classes.
Hi everybody, I'm Lindsay Adler, and I'm a fashion photographer based in New York City. And what I'm going to do today is share with you the essentials of the business of fashion photography. Everything from how to plan your first shoot, how to get published in magazines, and then also the complicated bits about what to charge and keeping track of all of the different elements that go together into being a professional fashion photographer.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Grid. I'm here with Scott Kelby.
Word. Hashtag.
What was that?
Hashtag.
I didn't even
Hashtag.
know that one.
Hashtag.
Oh, snap. That's pretty
Yeah.
good. And Mr. Joel Grimes, what's going on? Now, listen, we have a bunch of questions that have come in here. So let me just start this off. Kay Stoll says, when shooting on location or abroad, how much scouting do you do on your own, or do you rely more on local suggestions?
With Google and with Google Maps and all that, you can do a lot. I do hire on big shoots a location scout. But I like to let the location play out. I don't want to over scout it or over script it. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah.
So like a lot of times you go and you try to scout it and you end up only can scout it in the morning, but you're shooting in the afternoon. So then it's like, well, the light's not going to be the same. I'd rather walk into like a stadium. Let's say I had this like Candlestick Park, I got in there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's nice.
And then
Hey, can you tell your stadium story next?
yeah, I will do
Okay,
that.
yeah, please.
But I'd rather walk in at the moment and start going, oh my God, there's the angle, there's the light, and let it happen instead of try to work it.
Visualize
It's
it.
interesting. I was reading in Digital Camera Magazine, so a UK-based magazine that I now write for. Anyway, but I was reading one of their articles, and it was from a photographer giving advice. And one of the things that they said was, like, it was a female fashion photographer, and she said, you know, I get everything planned out. I know what I want to do, but then when I get to the shoot, I wipe it all away,
Right, yes.
and I'm open to what happens like on the shoot. Like I have to go in with a game plan. I'm gonna take this light. We're gonna do this kind of thing. But then once I'm there, I let the opportunities happen.
Found moments are better than scripted moments.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at that, but I'm not very good at that. I am
No, you don't suck at it
per se.
per se. All right. Hey, we got more questions for Joel.
So, what was your worst experience while on a shoot? This is Tony C0101. What was your worst experience on a shoot or the outcome of a project not turning out like you had planned? And how did you handle getting over it?
Worst experience on a shoot. This should be good. I want to hear this.
I've had gear completely break. I mean, and that's, and luckily I had backup gear, but I remember one time a medium format camera broke, right? And I had 12 or 13 executives. And this was like, we set the thing up the night before, and then they all walk in at 7:30 in the morning before they do their big meeting. And it was like the lady that hired me was really nervous, and I'm like, no problem, I got it. I get up on this ladder, and I got all the lights, and we had everything going perfect, and it went, the whole thing just froze. And I had my backup RZ, it was an RZ, and it was brand new, and I never actually turned it on. And when they shipped the RZ, there was a little thing you turn to lock the whole system. I didn't know that. So I put it on and it's not working. And I'm sweating, literally I'm dripping sweat. And these guys don't have time for that. And I had my 35 and I grabbed it and boom, shot it, and we did it. But that's not good.
Worst shoot? Something went horribly bad?
I've had a shoot where I can't believe I'm admitting this, but I've had a shoot where I had to do a whole bunch of location lighting, and everything, like for the better part of an hour, didn't work out very, very well, and it was something as simple as an auto ISO button. The auto ISO button was just turned on.
Crazy.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm shooting at 100 ISO, 200 ISO, f22. With like an 1/8 power, like 2 watt seconds, like on a light, and everything is just going, and everybody's staring at me, and I'm like, well, obviously the phalange on this thing is busted.
Oh, it's the Fessor valve.
And I literally, but what I was saying before was, I get stuck all the time on something. If I see something and I'm working on something, I'm like, that is what I'm going to get. So I will continuously run my head against it over and over and over.
I played Call of Duty with him. If you shoot RC in a particularly bad way, he will stalk that person. Like the whole team, we're moving towards B. He doesn't care. Now RC's got a thing against that, and he will. And if that guy shoots him every time he runs in the room, RC will find a new way to run into that room until that guy's dead.
Yeah, I will come up like 5 kills and 37 deaths or
So
something.
you don't want to piss off RC.
No.
I'm vindictive.
Hey,
so
I got my
What's
worst one.
yours?
Brad and I shared the worst shoot in the history of all shoots. I'll try to make it quick. And I spent so much money on it. So I went to an amazing location in New York City called the Metropolitan Building. Imagine an entire building in New York. It's right across the bridge, like right across the Midtown. The Triborough Bridge. I forget.
Midtown, I think. Or
Midtown
Queensboro
Tunnel.
Bridge.
Other side of the Midtown
Whatever.
Tunnel. Anyway, awesome location. It is an entire floor of a building packed with furniture. Every kind of cool thing you've ever seen. Brad and I hired hairstylist, makeup artist, a fashion stylist. We decided to do way too much. We were going to do a scene where we put together furniture, and then we brought a gray seamless background to do some gray shots. We got there in camera, the lights broke and all this. We had everything bad thing happen. One of the models showed up and said, "Where's our breakfast?" And we're like, "We didn't get breakfast." But here's the worst thing. So 3 models, hair, makeup, and all that kind of stuff, just me and Brad. We never thought to hire other assistants. But here's where it destroyed the day. Yes, we had stuff break. Yes, we had one of the models was very mean. There was no air conditioning.
Oh, sweating.
It was hot, like we went in there in the morning and it was absolutely beautiful. And we thought, this is going to be a great shoot. Lucky, and like, we don't have air conditioning. It's okay, it's beautiful. About 3 hours later, we were all drenched, just drenched. You take a shot and the makeup artist had to run and pat because sweat was it was the worst day. When it was over, Brad and I just sat in the car and we were just like, this was I literally proposed the idea of going back there and doing a whole class on how to not screw up a shoot. And just go, here's all the things that we did wrong on this shoot, and here's what I should have done to fix them. Now, since then, Brad and I have taken many steps. We now have 25 assistants on the set. We have breakfast there. We do all this stuff that we just screwed up that one. I don't know what happened. Yeah. Hey, we got more comments here for Joel.
Questions?
Well, hey, I mentioned your stadium story because remember our overall origin thing is how to take better pictures in 2015. And when we were talking about this yesterday, one of the things that you said to me was, you have to make things happen. You've got to take opportunities. And opportunities do come, and a lot of times we pass them off. So tell me about your
Well, I was
story.
teaching a workshop in Denver, and a friend of mine who works for the Denver Broncos could get me on the field. And he offered that to me. And I was like, I just got into town. I was thinking about the workshop. We had dinner plans. And this opportunity came up, and I was like, no, I mean, and my wife was sitting next to me, and I think she said something like, wait, that's like a background opportunity. And I was like, absolutely. So I get on the field with the 17 tilt shift, Canon 5D Mark III and 17 tilt shift.
Is that typical what NFL photographers would have on the side?
And all the photographers were going like this. Really? They're like this. Big old lens. They're like.
I've never seen a tilt shift in any game in my entire life.
And this one guy does this. He's got like 6 cameras and lenses. He pulls out his iPhone. He takes a picture of me while I'm sitting, and I'm like, what's this guy doing? And then he, 20 minutes later, he comes up. He goes, "You're Joel Grimes." I go, "Oh, yeah?" He goes, "Well, I just tweeted that picture because I thought it was hilarious." And people kept saying, that's got to be Joel Grimes on the field.
Nice.
Anyways, I was there to shoot backgrounds, but here's the great part, okay? Right when the light got perfect, I mean, the clouds and the storm and everything, lightning struck, right? And so they said, oh, hold on. The players have to leave the field. So I had a stadium with 70,000 people in it all to myself, and I shot
An empty
all
field.
these backgrounds. With,
Can we show your screen?
well, this is the one I dropped a Bailey in. In fact, this is this is not the image.
So
of it.
that's a real stadium. That is Sports Authority Field at Mile High.
That's right.
If I remember right from shooting there last year.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, but that's great. That's not a rendered thing. That's a real NFL stadium.
Yeah, and so I had it to myself. And so what do you think it would cost for me to have 70,000 people sitting in a stadium for me all by myself?
About $1,100.
Ish.
And it was perfect. But here's the crazy thing. All the photographers went into the media room. And because, like, why are you going to stand out there, right? Well, I'm walking around shooting all these backdrops. So they come out the door when they went to restart the game. And they're all looking at me like, where have you been, And I'm like this big old smile. I mean, it was from here to here.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, what are you doing? I go, I'm not saying a word.
You had another shot, didn't you? Do you get another one?
This is the one of Adam, a rugby player. I dropped it into same
Look at
set
that.
of images. I got more, too. In fact, I probably have like 100 backgrounds now that eventually I'll probably use on different stuff.
That's
But
pretty cool.
Those
anyways,
clouds are insane.
they're real. Those are not dropped
real
in.
clouds.
Those are real. So fun stuff.
Wow.
All right. So, and this is one of those times where a door opened and you walked through it.
I could have been to dinner. I could have been at dinner eating or.
And that was one of the other points. So, like, if we go back to, let's say, like, if you guys are watching and you're talking about, like, what are you going to do for 2015, right? So, obviously, practice, self-assign is obviously important. Go through your gear, obviously important. But the story that you're coming through here is make the opportunity. Like, when you're looking at something and you're like, I don't know.
You do this though really
somebody-
well. RC does. You track down a lot of stuff. Like you'll see a location and you'll go and take a print and you'll talk to people and like you did this. RC had a story, if we can get him to tell it here, from it wasn't last year, but like maybe a year before, about a Star Wars convention.
The Star Wars
Can you
convention.
tell this is a fascinating stuff. This is taking the bull by the horns.
And that's something that I try to do. I don't do it all that often, but I try to do it. Where a lot of my start to finish, it's hard to tell people. I'm thinking about doing this, and I want to do this with you, and there's a lot of talking. I try not to have a lot of talking when I'm working with stuff, and I actually want to do it. So Star Wars convention, I wanted to go shoot there. And they don't know me from Adam. Like I'm trying to like get access to people to do HDR shots and things like that. And I show up there and they're like, all right, listen, you got to pay. And I'm like, I'm with Photoshop User Magazine. And they're like, we don't care. You got to pay for this. So we pay for it. I get everything all set up. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I want these people to give me access to all of these kinds of things, but I'm going to be like, you're going to take a shot.
Things, though? They build-
HDR, they built these giant sets and they have all these people doing costume stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to go to them and be like, listen, I want everybody off of this set for 4 minutes while I do multiple exposures. I'm going to blend it together. And by that time, people are like, get out. So what I'll do instead is I'll go out and I brought all my lights with me and I went in and I did a couple shots with people in it, with all sorts of stuff in it. And I went into my car and I sat in my car. I powered everything up. I carried my Wacom tablet and everything with me. I'm sweating in the car and I'm just wrapping up a shoot. I'm doing a shoot very, very quickly. And I edit everything out and then I throw it onto my iPad and then I run in and I go back to the person and I'm like, listen, I need everybody out so that I could do this.
And you show them the picture
And I
on
showed
your
them
iPad.
exactly what I did. And I was like, this is a rough shot. And then at that point they were like, all right, let's get everybody out.
Can we see the shots
So
on your
this was
blog?
and this was one of the shots. This was a lot of the times people see this shot. This is the shot that I did. Here. So let me go to control room 2. So this was the shot that I did for them, or that I did.
So this
that
is
I
on
did
a
for
convention show floor.
Yes, like the crappiest lighting in the world. Like this is what it looked like before. So it's really not very good. But
I love that. Show the behind the scenes shot. I love how bad it is.
Yeah, so there's the track lights and there's all of this stuff. There's the rope and stanchion. And you're like, wow, that looks really good. But this was very different.
Wow.
So I had to show them that. But that wasn't really the one that I did it for, right? So I had to get these guys kind of set up here. And
This is actually, that's Brad before he grew his beard.
yeah, that's
there.
pretty much the way it works with that. This was a full-scale TIE fighter.
Wow.
Right? So I did that. I did it actually for that. But the shot that I was doing it for was for this.
Oh my gosh.
Now, it's got to load because it's actually a full-scale TIE fighter.
Like a boss.
Right? So I had to get everything cleared from here to here. People, locations, as far deep. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, guys, I want this shot, but I need people gone for like 40 yards. And you had like a pack of stormtroopers come out and just start clearing people out.
Once you won them over.
And once you win them over. And as it turns out, I have this on my website, I'll give you the link. There were a couple people that were there that were like, hey, can we jump up in there and take a shot? And I was like, all right, cool. So it turned out to be this guy who's Seth Green, the movie actor.
Yeah.
So he does like the Robot Chicken. Apparently he does some stuff there. And this guy, who's a guy named Steve Sansweet, he's the director of fan relations for Lucasfilm. So by the end of the day, I'm talking to the Lucasfilm guys about doing work and doing stuff. And it all had to do with the fact that I looked at a scenario and I'm like, I'd rather not leave it to chance to represent myself. I'd rather take a couple of extra seconds, do some work, and come back and go, this is what I want to do to
But
get
there's
access.
a great lesson in here, because not everyone's going to be able to do what RC did. But there is a great lesson in here. When you do have like your portfolio on an iPad, and you can go to somebody and go, like you've done this with interiors. Like he got access to this wonderful restaurant in Ybor City by showing them, here's some other restaurants I've done, and any chance I could get in here.
That's right.
And they're like, they rolled out the red carpet for you.
Absolutely.
And they're like, yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely, do whatever you want to do. And so being able to do that opens a lot of doors.
Well,
That's something that you can do in 2015 is take RC's thing and take your thing.
Well, look at, I photograph $100 million athletes. Well, how did I get there? I started with the next door neighbor. I mean, seriously, you can't start at the top. And so people always go, I don't have access to, really good athletes. Well, yeah, you do. What about high school kids? They're into it, their sports. Grab them, start with them. Then you go to college and you go to the pros.
Yep.
So you got to work your way up and you got to win over your subjects.
Absolutely, absolutely. Roger, Joel, you say you're a portrait photographer. Are any of your personal projects not portraits?
Well, okay, so backgrounds. Okay, people ask me, where do you buy your backgrounds? And I go, I have never bought a background in my life. And they go, well, can we buy them off you? No chance.
No.
So I have thousands of backgrounds. How did I get them? Walking the streets, getting out and doing it. That's self-assignment too. That's not even counting my 50 self-assignments. That's out.
All right, now you're just showing off.
Now you're just showing off.
But that's good. That's one of those things. So, Craig, when does an image stop being a photo? Oh, this is a big.
This is
Okay,
this is
and
big.
I forgot
Whoa,
one.
here we go.
When does an image stop being a photograph and becomes more of a piece of graphic art?
All right. That's the question I kept getting 5-6 years ago. I got hate mail. I got people said I sold out. I'm no longer a photographer. And here's what happened. One day the heavens opened, the light struck me, and I had a revelation.
Which is?
I am no longer a photographer, first and foremost. I'm an artist with a camera. So with that, I'm not defining myself as a photographer anymore. You got to come to my tour. I talk all about this.
I'll come to your tour.
come?
I am no longer a photographer by definition. I'm an artist with a camera. And so that changes, or Photoshop, artist with a set of tools. So that changes everything. The minute I was defining or defending myself as a photographer, then all these questions came up, and then all these people said, no, you can't be a photographer and still do it in 2 parts, or not do it all in camera. And so, but here's a great thing. Well, wait. Here's the beautiful thing that came out of that. That was a good argument or a good point in my life that I had to sort of confront. Once I confronted and I realized I am really an artist with a camera, my work exploded on a whole new level. And that's the stuff you see today is a result of that transition.
My biggest issue with this, and it's funny because I just had this argument with, not argument, but I just had the discussion with Calibra about it, Scott's wife. We were sitting around and talking about it, and she's, if I remember it correctly, she was saying that one of the things that she, I don't want to misspeak for her, but what I will say this, the concept was whether or not taking a picture and using a piece of software a little bit or a lot takes away from whether or not a picture is a picture, a good picture, or a bad picture. And I was like, I have a big problem with it because I feel like there's a set of rules that are already predicated on that say, in order for a picture to be a picture, it can or cannot have something. Like, you take a picture, well, you got to get it right in your camera, or it's not a picture, or you can't use Photoshop because then it's not a picture. And it's like, well, they're all pictures, really.
I know, but you know who says that stuff? You know who says that it's cheating if you use Photoshop and it's no longer a picture? People who aren't any good at Photoshop.
There you go.
Because if you were good at it, you'd understand this is just another tool. But people, they don't want anybody to have a leg up on them. They don't want anybody to have an advantage. They want to be like, no, you have to do it the way I do it. The way I do it is right. And using Photoshop and compositing, dropping in your own backgrounds, all that, that's all cheating. That's not the way I do it. But do you hear anybody, you hear Jeremy Cowart going, that's cheating? Because he can do it. He's good. You hear Glenn Dewis go, no, that's cheating. No, the people that can do it know that these are all just tools to create whatever vision that we want to create.
Can I just bring this up before we go to a break?
Yeah.
This is my favorite thing that I use to kind of defend. And we talk about it in the
this
seminar.
is good. This is good.
So
This is good.
what happens is Magnum photographers, right? So if you guys aren't familiar with Magnum, it's a photo collective that was started by like Cartier-Bresson, by Robert Capa, and all these people. And they interviewed a guy who does the printing. A Petapixel interviewed these guys that do printing for them. And basically he said, I'm going to take a look at the slides. I'm going to take a look at all of the negs from
The original
these,
negatives.
yeah, the original negatives from these Magnum photographers, and we're going to show what the original looks like and the markings that they did to print these shots.
Like the retouching. Here's how to retouch this
Here's
photo.
the digital retouching. So on the right is the picture. It's a very
famous
seminal
picture,
picture.
yeah.
And here on the left is all of the instructions that it took to retouch it. If you look here on the next one, that is the negative, or that is the final copy. This is what it took to retouch
Yeah,
it.
look at the highlight on his
Knuckles, I mean, look.
face. Look at the highlight on his face.
Oh, you want to see a face one? Hold up a second. This is the part that I thought was really cool. Look, that's an Audrey Hepburn picture.
Wow.
And it's like, guys, we've been retouching for a long time. At the end of the day, when you think of like Ansel Adams, where he's talking about the print being the performance, he spent a lot of time doing work inside of darkrooms, doing these kinds of things that you would see here. And it's like all of a sudden we forgot that that's what happened. We forgot that when we were doing pictures, that you actually had to selectively do stuff in the darkroom. But now, because it's Photoshop, now manipulating that stuff is cheating. And it's like,
That's because it's easier now. Nobody wants anybody to have a leg up on anybody.
Yeah. Well, we used to have this joke
way to
that.
go into 2015.
What's that?
Which is a crappy way to go into 2015 with that attitude.
Look, if you're an artist and you have a vision, all you got to do is grab the set of tools that get you there. That's all that matters.
that's it.
On that, we're going to take a break.
Absolutely.
On those very words from Joel Grimes, we are going to take a break. Don't go away. We have a whole lot more coming up here live on the grid. We have some giveaways we haven't talked about and other things. But don't go away. We'll be right back here on the grid.
Hey everybody, Mac Laskowski here, and we are going to shoot cityscapes. We'll talk about shooting locations and some of the different places that you can get to capture a city and capture everything around the cities. We'll talk about longer exposures, capture some of the energy that's around the city and get that into your photo. Then we're going to get into the city and do some detailed shots, get some of the buildings, the architecture, the edges, the corners, and create some really dramatic photos. No matter where you live, you're probably going to be near a city. Come watch my class over on Kelby 1. I'll show you how to take better pictures of it.
We all know the difference a great teacher makes. They inspire you, challenge you, and push you to do the things you never thought you could. For creatives, that means you've got to know your tools inside and out, whether it's Photoshop or photography, lighting or Lightroom, InDesign or After Effects. And while there are free videos out there, you have to watch 30 bad ones just to find a decent one. And a lot of times, the techniques are either outdated, complicated, or just plain wrong. What we need is a better way to learn. One that connects amazing teachers with creative people all over the world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A thriving educational community with nothing but the most talented, engaging, and respected teachers in the industry. Then we simplify the whole learning process with short, clear, concise classes. That's exactly what we've created for you right here at Kelby 1.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Grid. RC here with Mr. Scott Kelby and Joel Grimes. We're talking about what to do to take your pictures to the next level in 2015. Now, before we do that stuff, I do want to bring up PeachBit. PeachBit does have an ebook deal that is important. Make sure that you go to peachbit.com/Kelby1, enter in the code Kelby1, and you are going to get the GoPro Professional's Guide for Filmmaking. It covers the Hero 4 and all other GoPro cameras. So you get 40% off of this ebook. It's $16.79 by using the code Kelby1. Make sure you go to peachbit.com/Kelby1 and enter that information in.
Hey, speaking of Kelby 1, that's us. You know, we're produced by Kelby Kelby one. So we released some new classes here. Just released some new classes. We release them every week, by the way, every Thursday. Thursday is release day. So last Thursday we released. I think you just saw Matt's new class on shooting cityscapes, and he's got some really great techniques. He really does. It's a great class. So go check that out. And then we also did a really intimate interview. Me and McCormick went to Jay Mazel's home in New York City and had there's the photographing cityscapes with Matt Klaskowski.
Gorgeous.
So that just came live, and then this inspirational series we did with Jay Mazel, and it's if you're not familiar with Jay, you got to go see it. It does include some adult language because Jay's a New Yorker. He's 80-something years and he doesn't freaking care. Yeah. So, but both of those classes, and we have new classes that come out every single week. And Joel, you've got great classes with us, buddy. Yeah. You've got some awesome. And,
we're doing a new one tomorrow.
I'm excited about the new one. I was going to say
go.
it's a little marketing. But can I just tell you my stupid Jay story?
Yes, tell me your stupid, and then you got to show this other picture.
Okay, all right, I'll show that. But it's a short dumb Jay story. I go see Jay in New York, and we're walking around. You were talking about like we drops knowledge on you. We're walking around, and Jay, and I'm telling Jay, it's funny because it goes along the same thing that you were talking about, how you outlive a style, right? Like a style kind of gets a little stale. I've been feeling a little bit like that on my HDR work, where I'm like, I'm kind of done with it. I'm like, I want to do something else.
HDR
I do too.
I mean, it doesn't suck
per se.
But
it's like I'm looking for something different, and I'm talking to Jay, and we're walking down the street, and Jay's like, you know what your problem is? And he just proceeds to just unload on me like knowledge, not bad, but like knowledge. And I'm literally walking for like a block, and I just have my head down, and he's just like right here in my ear, and talking, and we're walking, and I'm just listening, and I'm listening. And then at one point he stops talking, and we walk for like the better part of a half a block in complete silence because I'm just processing everything. And Jay turns around, looks at me, puts his head up and goes, and this is the part where you say, I freaking understand. And I was just like, I'm sorry. So,
right.
But anyway, so we were talking about this earlier, about photography and things like that. And I said, to finish the rant on getting a writing camera and doing all these kinds of things, for me, I was a big fan of a man named Arnold Newman. Arnold Newman was considered to be master portrait artist, right? Gregory Heisler assisted for him for a while, but Newman did a picture of Igor Stravinsky on the piano that for me was the reason that I got into photography, because I feel like he took everything and reduced it to the most basic component and made this picture of a person at a piano that I thought was just amazing. I thought this was the best way to represent a pianist. And I was like, the use of negative space, the use of the lines, the use of the
incredible, timeless.
I was like, this is what you should. Your quest is to do something this memorable. And I was like, this is it. And I remember just being an idiot. And I used to tell people, you got to get a writing camera. You got to do this. You got to do that. And then like not so many years later, I found this picture. And I was like,
No, but you know what? I don't take this away from him at all. You know why?
No.
Look, he had the foresight to go, this is where I want it cropped.
Right.
Yes.
Now, and you know what? The final image is all that matters.
Right. And then I found this one. And I was like, he did it more than once. And not that was a bad thing, but for me, I was
I like the 3 check marks beside, this is the good one, crop it like this.
Yes.
But to me, I was like, well, first off, I thought I was the biggest idiot in the world because I'm like, well, what did he shoot? Did he shoot like a Linhof? Did he shoot something? Why? Like, how did he get that crop? And it's like, we sit around these days. So here's something for you for 2015. Stop putting imaginary shackles on your art. Why put yourself in a position where you have to say to yourself, well, I can't crop it, or I can't do this, can't do that.
I'm writing that down.
Look,
that's tweet of the day.
Look at my images. How many of them are centered? Where's the rule of thirds on that, right?
And we do this all the time to ourselves, and it's like, for what reason? People will always get into this. So let's examine the Newman picture real quick. He's getting rid of 2/3 of the picture, right? And a lot of the times what people will say is, if you're cropping in like that, what'll happen is, well, you can't make the picture very big. Get it all the time. Well, now you've gotten rid of 2/3 of the picture. How big do you think you can print it? And a lot of the times I'll usually tell people, have you ever been to see the Mona Lisa? Go to Louvre, go see the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
Hate to break it to you, Mona Lisa is this big.
It's you see it in person, you're like, I
Yes.
thought it was this big.
Yeah.
I thought it was a
Yeah.
big. It's not. It's,
And it's like
small.
At the end of the, and I said it on the Lightroom Killer Tips blog where we were talking about cropping because we were talking about print resolution. I was like, you know what? All cropping does is affect whether or not. Oh, I don't say that, but this is something else that I'm talking about. It's like cropping. All that does is affect whether or not I can buy a frame at Walmart or not. Because if you crop it differently, you just have to go get an off the shelf. You have to go get a custom frame.
That's right.
And who cares if the picture's this big, if it's good? So we put all of these imaginary constraints on our own pictures. Forget about them. Forget about it. Here's a master at working at different things. Here's another master.
Per
It's
se.
too late now. Too late for that. Too late for that now, buddy. That ship has sailed. All right. Hey, our buddy Glenn Dewis is popped in with a comment here. He says the main thing here is that Photoshop is used to create and not to correct. Is to create and not to correct. And for this to happen, and this is really important, it takes a photographer to light the image and make a great starting image. And I tell you what, I gave this in a speech at the Santa Fe workshops when I was talking to the whole staff and all the students and everything, because I was teaching a digital workshop there, and the whole place was looking down on us like we were cheating or doing something wrong. And I said to them, I said, look, this is what I've learned about Photoshop. Photoshop can take a great image and make it better, but it will not take a crappy image and make it good. You still have to have the composition. You still have to have an idea. It's still that all that stuff has to come together, and then you can do cool things in Photoshop. So with the things that you're showing here, and this all is, it's every bit of it is great. It was a great background photo. It's a great foreground photo. It's composited together with absolute wonderful post-production stuff. I mean, it's like, this is a well-conceived, it's every bit of it is good. It's not Photoshop taking a piece of crap and making it into, now, and I think people feel the same way about HDR, which is, I think, one of the reasons why people were angry about HDR, because they felt it would take a crappy picture and make it great. You still had to start off with decent light. You had to start off with a subject that's appropriate for HDR, and you also had to, it had to be a good shot to start with.
But this is the problem with that situation. I think that what happens is when you turn around and you tell people, don't put shackles on it, people think that means that it's free reign. Like, all of a sudden, you could just take anything, and anything does anything. You just crop it this small, crop it this big. And at the end of the day, it's like, if you look at, and I always try to attribute everything to dance, but like a ballet has ballet moves. If you show up to try to do a ballet and start doing this, and start doing just wiggling around and not doing ballet moves, you're not doing ballet.
Could you do that again?
Do that one more time. That's nice.
So if you start doing that,
Can we get like a 7-second thing, a vine of just that?
Lord.
Just a vine. Go for 7 seconds.
On the
though.
table.
Hold on, ready? That's good.
Okay. But what happens is,
Gotta get enough for a vine.
With that, what happens is people turn around and they go, well, that gives you an excuse for everything, like an HDR. HDR has something that's good, something that's not good, how much to be able to do it, how to be able to work, how to be able to process. There are rules, like a dance has rules. Your stuff, the way you have it, you produce it within a set of rules. Like, it doesn't look out of place. You have very specific things.
No, at all. It's real.
If anything's done right and it's falls within a certain parameter, there's going to be a group of people that like it, and there's always going to be a group of people that don't like it. No matter what you produce in life, there's always both groups.
Somebody looked at that picture that you just brought up, the Newman picture, and said, I don't like that.
No,
I don't
sure.
get it. I don't think, I don't
Absolutely.
see what's so good about that. That picture blows me away, but I'll guarantee you someone watching was like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's too far over to the left, or
Yeah,
whatever
why
it is.
Yeah, why is he cropped so close? I don't like that. More questions here. Joel.
Let's see, where is he?
How about Rito?
Joel. Oh yeah,
How about-
Joel, Jim Kerms. Joel, you've mentioned in the past that you light a subject based more on the look it gives you, and that you approach it from an artist point of view rather than a set formula. Did you have the same approach when you shot film, or does digital make taking this approach much easier?
No, it's the same exact approach. And here it is. Every time I set up for a portrait, I build that image based on what I like.
Okay.
Not on what I'm supposed to do from a professor standing over my shoulder, telling me, or a friend or whatever. I just start building it because every face is different. So if I go and measure my light and say it's got to be 4.3 feet and then f-stop, whatever, 11.2,
right.
then I'm not really letting my emotions dictate or my intuition dictate the image. And the minute I do that, I'm creating a canned picture.
Yeah, but man, you could work a Sears portrait gallery like nobody's business.
I've
with
been
that.
there. That's
Have
my
you?
first. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, wow.
No, but it's like, so I have to approach every photograph the same way, which is, do I like it? And so that's why I don't use a flash meter. I don't use histograms. I don't use lighting ratios. I don't use modeling lights. What's left? I use my intuition and the monitor on the back of the camera. That's my guide. And so
I love that. I've said this
And
so many times.
there are a bunch of
Frank Doerhoff just held a gun to his head. Frank
There are-
Doerhoff said, "That's it. That's the end."
That's a big gun, dude. He's
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
boy. But and that's what I'm gonna say. There's a bunch of people right now that just kind of fell over with an aneurysm because everybody's just like, well, the histogram and the thing and the models and the this, and it would shock you guys. This is Joe Grimes. It would shock you how many pros you ask that are just like, just kind of felt the right.
that's right. Let it go
Yeah.
until it feels right.
And you know what? And I'm I'm working on a new tour. You know how you were here launching a new tour? I'm launching, my run through is on the 23rd, is it, Brad? Something like that? Sure. Oh, God. Brad is,
What good is he? I have one assistant that
he's
acts
all
like
beard.
4 or 5 assistants. That's how I get away with one assistant.
Okay. I have one assistant that acts like 2/3 of one. Anyway, but his beard makes up for it. He looks so handsome that nobody knows. All right. So, and I'm doing a talk. Part of my talk is about the histogram and why to ignore it. Outside of clipping, so
Yeah,
many
exactly.
Well, so many
Clipping is
people
good.
will contact me and go, "I need to know your f-stop and your shutter speed." It was 1/125th of a second at f8. What does that tell you?
Nothing.
What is that? Let's say that I was at the Eiffel Tower and I took a shot and you said, "Scott, what was your f-stop?" I go, "It was 1/125th at f8, and they put a piece of black tape where I was standing. I was using a 14-24 at 24 millimeters, and my tripod was at 42 inches. And you went there and found the X. Oh, there it is. Stand here. You set up your tripod and you pointed it on the day that you were there. My settings are completely meaningless. Have nothing to do. You can be in the same spot with the same equipment and your exposure will not be the same. Why are people so stuck on exposure?
Because they don't want to take the risk of being criticized.
That's a very good.
Well, no, because if
reason.
I do something and it's not right, then I get criticized and then that hurts. So if I can go back and say, well, my light meter said f11.3, that's the fallback. I did everything
It's a
according.
technically correct
Yeah.
picture.
But if I have to rely on my artistic creative vision, that's open for criticism. That really gets
Right.
hurt.
Can we take a look at your screen again? Are you still online? I want to see the picture that you have there. Can we go back to the one? Ooh,
Which
I like
one?
that. One we were just on. Now, there are people that would say, well, this is underexposed. I love it. I like, because
what is the correct exposure? How can we determine a correct exposure?
yes, exactly. I think that you have this set for the mood that you wanted.
That's right.
That does not mean it's F8 and because if you made that, if you went and hit auto, if you open it up in Camera Raw and hit auto and it goes, this is what I think is the right exposure, I don't think any of us would agree it was right.
Okay, you know the gray card, right?
Sure.
That's 18%
18%
reflective.
gray.
It's halfway between pure white, pure black. We used that in school. It taught us how to put that in a scene, take your camera meter, you pull it out, shoot it, and that's what we call a correct exposure. I always ask this, as an artist, is it okay if I make that gray card a little darker? Maybe just almost black or almost pure white? Look at my blown out images. That defies everything, right? In terms of exposure.
So super high key stuff.
Okay, so let's go back to this. As a photographer, I have to make a gray cart 18% gray reflective. But as an artist, I can make any color I want.
Any color you want. Oh God, the brake sign's up.
One of my favorite quotes was David Allen Harvey. He's a Magnum photographer. He was one of the first people that I heard say, "Don't shoot what it looks like, shoot what it feels like."
Yeah, there you go.
I have
it's
that
like-
quote on my wall now.
Do you really?
Wait, I said that quote. I said that quote back in
my quotes here.
1962.
I got it here.
Really?
Well, I was
Dude,
3 years old.
I'm gonna find it for you. Like a boss here. Oh, where is it? That's Ernst Haas. Ernst, baby. Hold on. Right there.
Get out! You gotta bring it up because it's gonna be big props to David Allen Harvey.
Yeah, like a boss right here.
Oh wait, go to control room 2.
I'm not in control room 2?
No, I
All
can't
right.
do. There you
Right
go.
there. Don't shoot what it looks like. Shoot what it feels like.
Wow.
David Allen Harvey.
Yeah.
Come
That's-
on.
But that's a
Like
risk. It's a risk to shoot what feels like because it opens the door to criticism. We hate to be criticized.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
But here's the secret. It's okay to be criticized. It's okay for someone to say, I don't like what you do, and it's okay for you to keep going and do what you do.
You know where I learned that from?
Where? Really? I thought you said his
RC.
work wasn't all
Yeah,
that.
I know.
No.
RC loves to be criticized.
No. This is what happened, and this was right at the start of. This was the start of Get Your Photography on the Web. I wrote the Get Your Photography on the Web book, and I was like, I talked about DNS and server propagation and all this kind of stuff. And Scott took the first version of like the chapter and like tore it up, and he's like, "This is garbage. You got to do the whole thing over." And he's like, "You're writing a book to try to prove that you can write a book," and he's like,
You're writing it for
already-
other people who know this because you
Right.
want them to go, oh, he covered
Well, that's
DNS.
really good. Yeah,
he
exactly.
covered routing. Good. He covered this. Yes, this is technically correct.
Right. And he was just like, but that's not doing anything. He's like, the reason that you're qualified to write a book is because someone has asked you already to write a book. And he's like, just write to help. Everything that we do here, everything is like, write, do stuff to help. If you can help, then you're doing something right. And then he said, this is how you'll know you're doing it right.
That's good advice.
And you
When
know
the
what?
amount of people, as you start getting bigger, the target on your back is going to get bigger. There's going to be people that are not going to like what you,
That's right.
what you do.
And it's okay.
And you know what? I've talked to so many authors of the same thing. Is that, and I see where people have written a book where they wrote it for their peers. They wrote it for not who would buy it and who needs their help. They wrote a book so other people look at it and go, yeah, he knows this. Did he cover that? Yes, he did. And I'll even read it in reviews of books, including my own, where someone will go, well, you didn't cover this particular technique that I would have certainly thought you would cover. And all. This person knows the technique. They already know it. They're not saying, I'd heard there's a technique called frequency separation. I wish you would talk about it. They're like, why didn't you cover frequency separation? You know what I mean? It's like, a lot of people do that. And that's what I was talking about with RC is you're writing a book that's going to make other web designers go, yep, he covered this stuff. But that's not who your audience is.
Right.
Your audience is people who really need to get their photos on the web. You know what that means? It's break time. We're going to take a short break. We still haven't talked about giveaways or all the other cool stuff that we have coming up, but we're going to talk a little bit more. We got some more questions. There's a particular question that I want to get answered from Joel here in just a minute if we can. So let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll have that and a quick look at Brad's beard. Don't go away. Brad.
Kick it away, Brad.
MPix Pro, the full-service online photography lab, helping you grow your business with pro-quality photo products and stellar services. Get started at mpixpro.com.
Hey, we're back. Scott here, RC here.
What's up?
Joel Grimes in the house. Hey, we have some giveaways we're going to do in just a couple of minutes. So I'm going to tell you now, but then I want to get some questions from Joel. We just came out the Photoshop Elements 13 versions of Elements have been out. Matt Kloskowski and I do this book together, and it just came out, so it's hot on the press right there. And oh, there's my editor. I'm like, anyway, so we're giving away a signed copy of that book today. And what else are we giving away, RC? We have other things.
We have the Rogue DSLR pop-up flash booster. If you're using pop-up flash, this is something that you can use.
Flash booster.
To use that. And Steve Simon. I like Steve. This is a great book, The Passionate Photographer, 10 Steps Towards Becoming Great.
I don't think I know Steve.
Steve Simon? He's really cool.
Is he?
Yeah, dude. He's all right. I like this book a lot.
There you go. We're giving away that too. And we're going to give away a 1-year membership to Kelby One.
Okay, so how do they do this?
They're going to go to
Kelby1.com
Kelby1.com/.
contests.
No, yes.
/webcast/contest.
So it's Kelby1.com.
Can I enter?
You cannot enter. /webcast/contest. You are watching the grid. Give us your name and all that stuff. But in the comment section, it's important for you to tell us which prize you want to win. Do you want to win the Kelby One 1-year unlimited to all of our videos? Do you want to win the Elements 13 book? Do you want to win the Flash thing or Steve's book? Or, ready, I'm going to give away 1 ticket to my next 3 stops on my Shoot Like a Pro Tour. My Shoot Like a Pro Tour is winding down, and these are the last few cities I'm going to. I might have one extra, but it is Columbus on January, I think, 26. Columbus, then Richmond, then someplace
Something
else.
like that.
Wait, Columbus, Richmond, Raleigh. Those 3 places. I haven't been to Columbus in years. I haven't been to Richmond in years. I haven't been to Raleigh in years. I'm looking forward to it. So going to be those 3 dates. So if you're in one of those cities, you'd like to win a ticket, put Scott's seminar and the city you want to win in.
Hey, just saw this come in real quick, and I just before we even get to those comments, just one of the things that somebody said was advice for developing a style/vision that can be recognized/marketed. That sounds like a very, very generic question.
It's a real open question.
It's like, well, what do you do to learn how to see, to do stuff? So,
Well, a branding, a style, is just taking something that you love to do more than anything else. So out of all the things you do, you love to do it more than anything else. And then you go and you repeat it, not just 10 times, 100 times, maybe 1,000 or 3,000 times.
Right.
And you get so good at it, and then you get it out there everywhere you can. Every single avenue that's possible, you get it out there, and that becomes the brand.
right, and the reason that I wanted to kind of pick on Garrick about this, because he was just like, well, let Joel tell us about what do you do to develop your style so that you can market it and do it. And it's like, that is the hardest question to answer, because
Well, we got a question that's kind of like this.
Where is that?
Before we get this, can we just show the picture on your screen? It's just such a captive. I don't know if there's a story there or not. I don't care. I love that shot.
Well, this was shot at a PPA event that I think it was in Kansas. And I got in late at night, and then they show me where I'm supposed to stay at this dorm. And I woke up at 4 a.m. And I was like, and on the way in, I remember seeing a wheat field like a mile from the campus. I didn't have a rental car, that someone dropped me off, right? So I go trompsing out there at 4 a.m, and I get this picture. Well, by noon, that field had been cut. And this guy was coordinated, Jim Stuckey. He was coordinated, and he said, what kind of models do you want? And I said, I want an old farmer. And he's got one arranged. The guy canceled last second. So we put the hat on Jim, and that's the picture of the guy that coordinated.
Terrific picture.
that's a great shot.
I love the overall tone of the image.
Yes.
I think is really terrific.
I can teach you how to do that.
Thank you.
Can you?
Yeah,
We're
class.
I'm doing it in the tour.
We're
All right.
doing it. We're
Hey,
doing it.
there's a bunch of questions here, but we're kind of over time.
The vision style thing we were talking about.
Yeah.
Which question
so
were you?
it's the one from BH. But here's the thing, Joel. Since we are already 6 minutes over, we got to kind of answer these quick.
Okay.
But these are all
What are
good
you saying? I'm
questions.
long-winded?
Yeah.
No,
How does-
I'm just saying that we're 6 minutes over.
How does a photographer find his or her niche? Is it true to be more successful you need to specialize in something unique versus being good at many different genres?
How do you find your niche?
Well, here's what I would do. it used to be that I'd go to the bookstore or the magazine, used magazine, bookstore to where I'd buy all these cheap magazines and just go and rip pictures out. And I'd build a library of images I liked. And I'd stick them in a stack, put a name on it, like portraits or whatever. And then I'd go back and revisit those. Now we can do it on the web. You make a little folder, drop stuff in there, and then go back and revisit it. Now here's what happens. If I take a look at 100 images, I'll go, don't like, maybe, okay, I love. Don't like, okay, maybe, I love. Put all the images you love in a folder, and then keep revisiting those. And a theme and a look will start to come together, because you got to base it on what you like.
Yeah,
and if you like it,
that's important.
Then you can go out and beat your, butt into the, getting out there and doing it.
Did you just say beat your butt?
I was going to say, beat the streets, beat the.
He said beat your butt, though, didn't
Beat
he?
your butt, yeah.
That's
good.
a big
Brad?
gaff.
Can we get a Brad real quick?
Is this like on a 5-second delay? Can we take that out?
Did he say beat your butt?
I don't know.
But that's to that point. So I think to BH and to Garrick, what happens is you need to go. You need to study pictures.
Study pictures.
You need to study
Absolutely.
pictures. Pictures are like words. You want to make your own sentence. You got to go remember. You got to go take a look at words.
It could be, you could get your inspiration from a book or from a song or whatever. It doesn't always have to be an image.
That goes to Karen. What? What type of assignments are you doing, and how do you come up with your idea for your projects?
Yeah,
same situation.
How do you come
right?
up with your ideas for your 50 projects freaking
Well,
year?
a lot of times the subject might dictate that, right? You meet someone, you go, oh my gosh, you'd make a great guy on a Harley. Or maybe they don't have a Harley, but you say, I'd love to get a portrait of you because I love your beard. So the subject may dictate that. Or I see a photograph, I go, I like that idea. Not that I'm stealing it, but it maybe gives me inspiration to go, I'm going to try something. You know that black cloth thing I'm doing?
Yeah, that was cool, by the way.
You know what it is?
What?
The client left that piece of cloth behind, and I started using it.
Can we show that shot? Because
I
I
don't
follow
think I
you
can find that.
on various social medias.
I don't think I have it on here.
Do you have it on your Facebook page? I think I saw it on Facebook or something. Twitter?
Have them go to Facebook and
Yeah,
find it.
go to
And
Joel
then-
Grimes'
and then-
Facebook page.
and
What
then
is Joel
like
Grimes
me.
Photography?
Yes.
So what about you? How do you find inspiration for projects? Where do you go?
I do the exact same thing that Joel talks about. Anytime that I'm on the web and I see something I like, I put it in an ideas folder.
That's right.
What I found is interesting, and I was thinking about this when you were saying this, is I can go back and look at my idea folder from 3 years ago, and I look at the images that are in there, and I'm like, I don't want to do any of those. Like,
You've
you know
moved
what I mean?
on
It's
that
like
much.
I've moved on.
Yes, that's good.
Like in
There you go.
In the period of just a few years, the things that I do find interesting and the pictures that I do like, And so that's what I'll do is, and you're never going to have
Well, you
the
finally got
same
away from the
location and
kitty cats and the little puppy dogs. You finally moved on.
I still do a lot of cats on railroad tracks with. There it is. There's the shot right there. That's just so creepy. I love that. I saw that come across. I didn't know any of the context or anything, and I was like, that is just, this guy's thinking out of the box. That is just, that's fine art. That's just,
Well, I asked myself, do I want to hang that on a wall?
On a creepy wall, sure.
Yeah, or whatever image.
Like
I do.
in a haunted house, Hollow Scream, I think would be good. The Universal Halloween Haunted Horror Nights, yeah. My daughter's bedroom, she's 9, she loves creepy stuff.
I go about it completely different. I tend to listen to music. I tend to drive. I have a notebook and I listen to music.
There you go.
And I find a song and I'm putting these imaginary
Sure.
things in my head.
Because you're smart.
And no, it's not a question of smart. Maybe I'm going about it the wrong way.
No.
No.
It doesn't matter. There is not a right way or wrong way. If it works for you, it's the way.
So I find myself just jotting down ideas and jotting down notes. But that serves its purpose. Like this year, one of the things that I'm doing now is I'm experimenting a lot more with video. So I think that I tend to see more scenes than I do pictures, which I'm really excited about. I think it's almost all music.
You could be good at video. You got a good thing. All
I'll
right.
try.
Saricher? What personal assignment are you looking forward to the most in 2015? Joel?
Well, I've been strobing outdoors.
Do you do this when you're beating your butt?
Hold on. Yeah, beat my butt. Strobing outdoors and producing an HDR with both the ambient and the strobe all at once.
Nice.
This is crazy, folks. And I discovered this because I use the Cam Ranger.
Camera Ranger's cool.
I know, and they're great people too that have put this together. But there's an option on HDR to bracket with ISO. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, rather than bracketing with shutter speed.
Shutter speed. So now, I mean, for 10 years I've been wanting to do this, right? You'd think I was smart enough to figure this out before, but I'm just all of a sudden, I opened that Cam Ranger up for the first time, and I saw that ISO option, and I went, I can bracket strobe outdoors. And I did it right away, and I've been doing it for about a year and a half. So my goal this year is to do some more on-location strobing with the both ambient and the strobes in HDR.
All righty. Steve, when you shoot restaurant interiors, hotel interiors, even sports stadiums, are there any copyright issues when using them for a composite?
What's copyright?
There you go. Johan, no, I'm just kidding. Go back.
Well, look, if you take out the identifying,
Right. Stuff.
logos and ads and whatever, and you kind of simplify a little bit, I think you're good. Now, we live in an age where everyone's suing everyone, so I'm not going to give you any legal advice.
No legal advice. But there are, of course, certain buildings that are iconic that have copyrighted themselves. So no matter how much you change the Flatiron Building or the Guggenheim or the light pattern, of the Eiffel Tower at night, there are certain ones that are, so you're not really you're staying away from the obvious copyrighted ones.
Right.
Like I doubt that barn's got a whole lot of.
I know that rancher or that farmer came after me.
Did he?
No, I'm just.
All right. Johan S asks, if you do 4 or 5 shoots in 1 week, how do you have time to edit them, or do you have somebody else like an assistant doing your editing for you?
Do all my editing, all my everything. That is the biggest problem, and it's late nights. I don't sleep. Well, I sleep, but I'm saying it's putting in the hours. The good thing about editing is if you have an image that you go, oh my gosh, I can't wait to do it, you'll work the extra hours. Yeah. But if it's something else like whatever, it's kind of okay, right, then you don't put the hours in. So
is it true you sleep in a coffin? Is it true you slept in a coffin the night you did the creepy shot?
I did. No, that's a good one.
Yeah. But here's a pattern here's something for 2015 that I think is one last takeaway for most of that stuff. The people that are actually out producing and writing and doing these kinds of things don't sleep very much. Work quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that what happens is sometimes people are like, oh man, I wish I could be good. I wish I could be this. I'm in bed at night, or I'm playing Xbox, or I'm doing this kind of stuff. Like when you get on a book project, when I'm working on something, I haven't even unpacked I got an Xbox One. I haven't even unpacked it because
I'm a second prestige level 32.
Are you really?
I swear to you on Advanced Warfare, I'm second prestige level 32.
I haven't even unpacked
Just started playing it.
But what happens is
I got every weapon unlocked, dude. I got dual extended mags on everything.
People will be like, well, how do you find the time? And I'm like, you have no idea. I'm like, you're up at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning working. When you're doing projects, you just sleep.
Dude, you have the same number of hours in the day that Einstein had, that Mother Teresa had, that Brad Moore has.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Imagine the beard you could grow.
Well, the other thing too is I don't retouch a lot of images from each shoot. Like that cloth thing series I did, 3 images. And that's not a composite, so that's a pretty easy, couple hours.
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm the same way. I don't retouch a whole lot of. I pick the shot from the shoot, or maybe 2, and I retouch those. If it's one look, like if it's a look in an outfit or something like that. Right. One more, we're gonna have to roll out of here. Jim asks, Joel, where do you get your inspiration for that next step in reinventing yourself? Where does your mind go when you think of where do I take my work to the next step? Do you have a vision of something and try to make that happen, or do you approach it from doing a lot of different things in Photoshop and seeing what you like?
A lot of it has to do with the progression of where you said that you look at your images 3 years ago and you say, you know what, I wouldn't do that again, right? And so with time, my vision starts to change a little bit, and I start thinking or looking at images and I go, I love that look. Or that ideas of, taking a model and doing a wedge wall, and, of course, Irving Penn did that back in the 50s. But so I'm following.
I have a quote from Irving Penn.
You do?
Yeah.
I follow
in the same poster.
The desire of my heart, so to speak. I just go, what do I really like doing? And that, I don't really know where that's going to be tomorrow.
You know what? This really came through, I think, in today's broadcast of you saying that. How many times today on this broadcast did you talk about shooting something you love, following your heart, doing something that really excites you. You know, that I think if we had to come up with a theme for 2015 of what you were telling people again and again and again is find that thing that you love.
You gonna put that on a quote on your site?
I put RC's on a quote. I would like to put the beat in your butt thing.
But here's the horrible, the funny paradox of all of that kind of stuff is that there are tons of people that will go out and they'll be like, well, what's the solution? How do I get it? How do I market? How do I find the vision? How do I do this? And how do I do that? And I think that there's people that are out there that cling to 1/25 of a second, f8, this thing, because what happens is that if the solution is a shutter speed and an f-stop, then it's an external. If you don't have it, you have an excuse for why you're not good. It's an external source. I don't know the magic number. I don't know the magic camera. I don't know the magic buttons. But in reality, when you talk to people about it and it gets to, well, what do you like and what do you want and what do you want to see? That's a harder solution.
That's tough.
That's a tougher question to be able to ask. So if you don't know it, the only thing, and this is just kind of me just soapboxing it one more time, but I think that I step back to what we're doing in Kelby One. There's a couple of different processes that can happen here. You need to know how to be able to take a great picture, right? We do that here. You need to be able to learn how to do Photoshop. We do that here. There's no waste in most of that stuff. Once you know the technical components of it, I think it opens you up to just have that exploration for yourself.
Be an artist.
I'm not laughing at you. Brad put break up there because the show's like 18 minutes over. All right, to wrap things up, RC, I'm going to ask you this next, Joel, so you get ready. I'm asking RC first because he doesn't care about being put on the spot. RC?
Yes, sir.
If you had to give one piece of advice to take better pictures in 2015, it would be?
Give yourself, worry about the execution. Don't worry about the execution. Don't worry about what people are going to like. I think that as a photographer, if you set an idea in your head and you say to yourself, I'm going to do X, it looks like this, it feels like this, the colors look like this, and you use your technique and your skill and your Photoshop to measure, and you measure, did I get to the vision that I wanted? Forget about whether or not people like it, forget about whether or not people are good with it. Work on your execution. Set an idea. Work on the execution.
That's hard to do.
It is hard
because we
hard.
share our stuff in social media, and you had a vision, and the vision came out just like you like it, and you go, "What do you think?" And people are like, "That sucks." It sucks the wind. It takes the wind out of your sails.
Yes.
It really does. So I agree. You should go for it, but
it's gonna hurt.
It might, or people might love it, and that's what's so crazy about all this. Joel?
Well, I kind of mentioned on it, but I would say this: if I would to give someone one piece of advice, that is, let go of the definition that you are a photographer, and take on a mindset that you're an artist with just a set of tools, and that will change everything.
Okay. What about you?
Mine would be stop overthinking everything. Everything that Joel said today, all the stuff, how many times did you really talk about, well, you got to get the exposure this way, or the light has to be over here, or you notice you didn't talk about anything technical today, but that's what most photographers are focused on. You got to learn three things. You got to learn exposure, shutter speed, and ISO. That's all. Those are the only three things you have to learn. Your car uses three things: the brake pedal, the gas pedal, and the steering wheel. That's driving. Every other knob on your car is just fluff. Your camera is three things: exposure, shutter speed, and ISO. Every other button on there is fluff. None of those other buttons make the picture, right? None of those other controls change anything other than your experience. Mm-hmm. They don't change what comes through that lens, what gets imaged on that sensor. Stop overthinking all that crap. Listen to what Joel said today. Everything he said today, and everything RC really said today, they both basically were mirroring the same thing: is this is an art. Worry about the art. Yeah, do you need to know how to run those three things? Yes. And if you don't know and you go, Scott, I really don't understand those relationships. Number one, we have a class on that, but forget that. Number two is put your camera on program mode. Let the camera do all the thinking. Because that's those three settings. Your cameras are good enough today that they'll make a proper exposure. Shoot something really amazing, shoot something really beautiful, something really fascinating, shoot something that has a chance of making somebody else go, wow. Then when you put that up on Facebook, you'll get a great response. Except for that one guy. There's always that one guy. All right, Joel, thank you so much. This was a terrific interview, and thank you for being our guest. It was really good. RC, as always, you bring the love.
Per se.
Brad, do you see how quick she switched to Brad that time? Dear Lord, that was the fastest transition to Brad we've ever had. Brad,
It's coming.
All right, Brad, what do you got going on this year? Tell me about your 2015.
Well, can I add to the advice?
Oh yes, please.
I would say, because this is the advice I'm giving myself. And
This isn't the nude selfies thing, is it?
No. Hopefully I will take my own advice, but don't be afraid to take a risk and step out and do something that you've always wanted to do, whether that's walking up to somebody on the street and asking to take their portrait, trying to set up a portrait shoot with a band before their show, or get more access backstage, or whatever. Whatever that thing is you've always wanted to do, just take the steps to do it.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice, because, and this goes back to the original thing that Jay said, is, you know what, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You just got to freaking do it. And you know what? Sometimes it's embarrassing and hard to do, but what's the worst anyone's going to say to you? No.
Nope.
Right?
And then you're right where you were to begin with.
And then you're right. And we've all had a bunch of no's, but you know what? If you get a yes,
It's a hell of a yes.
right? It can be a hell of a yes. How many people said no to RC about the Star Wars thing? Until he was able to get to the yes. And then once he gets to the yes, he's talking to the guys from LucasArts.
Yep.
So anyway, we do hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful 2014. We hope that, 2015. We hope your 14 was good. Hope your 15 is wonderful. Brad has...
Did you do giveaways?
Yeah, we did giveaways.
Somebody in the chat asked. I want to make sure.
Yeah, we did giveaways. And what we're giving away is Elements 13's book.
Steve Simon, Passionate
Steve
Photographer.
Simon's book. We're giving away a year of Kelby one. We're giving away a Rogue Flash Booster, pop-up Flash Booster. And we're giving away one of my tickets to a seminar in any one of those three cities, Columbus, Richmond, or Raleigh. I don't think I've ever been to Raleigh in my whole life. I might start smoking when I get there. Anyway, hey, take care, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching The Grid. Take care, everybody. That's Joel Grimes. That's him right there. That's RC.